Greetings, fellow West Texas A&M grad students. I'm Aaron Brockman. I'm here to talk to you today about Module 5, Power and Influence Readings in the Heidi Rosen case study. Getting started off here with the first question. What are the strengths of Rosen's network across the different stages of her career? Well, first of all, I think you need to start with her early age. She was born and raised in the Silicon Valley of California in a time when Silicon Valley was going to be the epicenter of the tech boom in the world, and her family was also in the business of tech. So she had some early exposure and undoubtedly some early interest into that, and that most certainly caused her to start to develop some network ties at an early age. But I think the strong part of her network at an early age was her ability to capitalize on the opportunities that she was given and the exposure that she was given at a young age. Now, she went to Stanford and wasn't a tech major, but she still worked with and was able to develop a network enough that she had some ties in order to get her a job at the Tandem company that several people had applied for. And mainly she got it because she was able to be a likable person and develop a relationship with the person that was hiring. So we saw some early stages there of her being able to develop a strong network. Now, while at Tandem, she was exposed to opportunities that most young people are not. She got to work directly with the CEO, and after some years of hard work and developing good reputation and ties, the CEO wrote her a letter of recommendation in order to get into Stanford Business School. So we see her reputation continuing to grow as she goes into a Stanford Business School, undoubtedly makes some good contacts there, continues to build her network, and now comes out into the private sector. As she comes in the private sector, this really starts the developing and building of her network phase of her life. She gets a job with Teammaker, her brother's company, who's a startup software company that has some pretty good products and is doing pretty well. And instead of taking venture capital, she has the idea that she's going to work hard. She's going to develop that reputation of the company, and she's going to get it sold by working with and developing press ties and working in outside business associations. While she does this, she develops a reputation as an extremely hard worker and also a person that's very likable, a person that people want to be around. And this allows her to expand her network as her company grows into a vast network, and she's able to sell the company a few years later for several $1 million. This kind of closes out the developing of the network phase and turns into the maintaining and leveraging of her network phase. After she sells Teammaker, she gets hired on by Apple in a period of where they were struggling greatly as an executive with the company. She's developed over the years at her time at Teammaker a very good reputation in the industry and a person that people go to and people that look to as an expert. Because of this, now she's developed that large network, and now it's time for her to use that network to start calling in some favors. So the strength of her network at this point is that she's able to use her reputation and her ability over the years to develop that network to now start getting those favors and getting those people who work with Apple to continue to support Apple products and kind of get Apple through a tough time. Now, after she leaves Apple, her networking strengths change a little bit again. As her network continues to grow, she goes into the venture capitalist type business. Those people in her network are becoming more powerful and have less time, and their time is more valuable. This is where she changes and doesn't use as many connections. She still has them all, but doesn't use them as often in order to maintain the power and influence of those connections. Now, getting into the second question here. How are the concepts in the readings used to influence power and influence in networking? Well, the first thing I'd like to start with off here is how to build the network. So first of all, Heidi is an information broker. She has a nearly infinite amount of doors to knock on in order to get things done and make connections for people, undoubtedly causing her to be very powerful and influential in anything that she's working with. Her network that she has also allows her to have access to lots of private information. The private information that is very helpful when working with different companies and working in order to get startups going, where she can get the information that is not available to most people and get those to those small companies and make sure that those small companies now develop and make her company money as a venture capitalist. She's also a super connector, which is essentially just a very powerful broker that brings these cluster networks together and spreads out that information and all that private information that she has into different networks. So people go to her, with this undoubtedly increases her power and influence, but also helps out the other people in her networks. She's also found a way to break through the self-similarity and proximity ideas by using her shared activities principle. She sits on many boards of many outside organizations. She hosts many parties at her house, things that she's passionate about. Through this, she connects people and allows herself to keep up her connections and maintain her power and influence across the full spectrum of her life. With the harnessing the science of persuasion readings, things I pulled out from there are reciprocity, consistency, and authority. Authority was established by having that strong reputation at a young age. And as she went up the ranks at Teammaker and then at Apple and then as a venture capitalist. But really what she talked a lot about was her consistency. She has a vast network that she cannot nearly have enough time to talk to everyone. And she feels that she doesn't need to continue to talk to everyone. She just needs to talk to them every now and then because of her ability to do what she said she was going to do and always work hard and make sure that she got the job done, that she knew that when she called in a favor or someone called in a favor of her, that it was going to get done. And that was enough to maintain her network. After reading the Give and Take book and reading the case study, what I found about Heidi is that she is most certainly a giver. She looked at her career as a zero-sum game, where even if she wasn't going to connect someone or get any benefit from the relationship, she always took the time, or she was going to invest in their company. She always took the time in order to give them feedback and let them know why she wasn't going to invest in their company or how they could do better. And this undoubtedly allowed her to continue to develop relationships and develop power and influence across her network, because she said she never knew when those people would come back with a better business or need to, or would be able to help her out someday later on. She lived up to the kind of the quote that was talked to in the book of the true measure of a man is someone who treats someone, how someone treats someone who can do them absolutely no good. And she undoubtedly lived up to that. Now, finally here, the other thing about Heidi is that she is an otherish giver. Her time at Apple, she was a self-sacrificing giver to the point that she was meeting for 8 to 10 hours a day and not being able to get her things done, and she burned out. Later on, she was able to not make as many connections, and she kind of narrowed it down in order to be able to get her job done more effectively. I appreciate the time today and look forward to hearing from you all. Bye.